Hello and welcome to the two-man power trip of wrestling. I'm your host, JP John Poz. With me today, very special guest, the son of the legendary Steve Corino. He's, of course, the NWA Junior Heavyweight Champion, Mr. Colby Corino. Colby, welcome to the two-man power trip. How you doing?
Thank you for having me on today. I'm doing real well. How are you?
Very good. What is going on in your world? Because a big show is coming up, NWA Samhain. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
I think it's pronounced Sawin. They had a whole class for all the NWA roster to pronounce for promos and stuff. It's
Oh, my God.
Sawin, I think. I might
What a
have
weird name. Where
those.
did that come from?
I don't know. I've always heard the phrase Sam Hain, but I am not the person to ask about the historical significance of the name of the pay-per-view. Yeah, I don't know.
It just looks cool as hell, just like because you never seen it. It's usually, like No Mercy or, whatever corny, name they can come up with. It's actually somewhat different, kind of cool.
I think it's now I could be completely wrong, but I think it's something to do with like the original Halloween, or I don't know. It's something scary.
Halloween theme, yeah.
It is.
Oh, okay, I see what it is. It's something to do with October and November with Halloween. Yeah, okay. I wasn't even sure what it was. It's something with like the harvest and all that stuff, but it seems like
Yeah,
very
yeah.
Halloween centric.
That's what I meant.
Yes. So, how do you feel about obviously being the junior heavyweight champion and having a lot of title defenses here in the NWA?
It's awesome. I ever since I won the belt, like just over a month ago, I've been traveling all around the country, defending as many times as I can. I'm at 8 defenses so far in just over a month, so I think I'm making pretty good progress.
Now, Sam Hain, as I like to call it, but I guess it's a win. It's a Gaelic of some sort, some sort of Gaelic, but it is going to be October 28th at Tempe Live at the Cleveland Masonic in Cleveland, Ohio. Of course, going to be on Fight TV, National Wrestling Alliance.com for more info, NWATix.com for more info. Are you excited about going to Cleveland?
Yeah, it's as excited as someone could be about going to Ohio. No, I kid. But I've never actually wrestled in Cleveland before, so I'm always excited to go to new cities and check them out. And I feel like every city has its own little like feel and vibe. So I'm excited to see what Cleveland has to offer. Though I'm not gonna lie, I've heard some pretty unsavory things about all the cities in Ohio, and my own experiences kind of match up with that. But I'm not gonna let that hold me back from enjoying Cleveland.
I've heard some bad things as well. I've seen some the Guardians games or Indians games, whatever you want to call it, against the Yankees, and some unsavory folks in that crowd. I remember. So I don't know about those Cleveland fans.
Yeah, I don't know about football or whatever. I don't
Baseball.
know about baseball. Yeah, any of those fake sports besides pro wrestling, I ain't into.
Yes.
Pro wrestling's all I got.
So NWA Junior Heavyweight Championship match, Joe Alonzo. I feel like maybe he's been a little unsavory lately, right? I mean, he's kind of maybe crossed the line a little bit lately.
Yeah, you could say that. Like, I don't really care what people say about me, but when you start talking about someone's family, I feel, especially when like my family's not involved in pro wrestling outside of my dad and my aunt, so I really don't think that they need to be brought up and made fun of, especially by someone who looks like he doesn't even know someone named Jim. But whatever. I feel like if that's the type of stuff that if you have to resort to taking the low hanging fruit and calling out people's family members that aren't even in wrestling, I think it's because that you can't cut it in the ring and you can't make people excited for your matches by being a good wrestler. And if the shoe fits, the shoe fits.
Do you think that this adds a little bit extra juice to the match now? Like, are you extra motivated for the match now?
I don't think there was ever like a doubt in my mind that I was going to win. But I saw what Homicide did to him at NWA 75, and if you thought that was bad, it's gonna be a new beginning. Homicide, he's a tough dude, but let's be honest, he's a little past his prime. But I'm at the top of my game right now, and I ain't the champion for no reason. You know, uh, everyone likes to talk about how hard I hit and how aggressive I am. It's gonna be on the next level with this dude.
Yeah, you're on fire in Homicide, which is great. It seems like your feud with him, obviously NWA too, but I mean, it stems back. I mean, we're going back 20 years. He had a feud with your father. So it's almost like you're continuing the legacy of a little bit of a big time feud with Homicide.
Yeah, yeah. I've wrestled Homicide so many times at this point, and he's definitely someone I respect. I wouldn't say like he's my friend or nothing, but he's definitely someone that I can't like just sit here and say that he ain't someone that's very talented and deserving of all the respect that he's gotten in the wrestling world because he is deserving of it. He's a very tough dude. He's an OG, so but.
Do you continue that feud that your father had, or is it completely separate? There's not really bad blood, or are you continuing the bad blood?
I guess we did continue the feud for a while. We actually had indie matches on the indie scene going back for the past 40 years, and we just had our last match. What we agreed to be what would be our last match together at the beginning of 2023. So I think the beef is squashed for now, but I don't think you'll see us dining out to get to dinner anytime soon. You know.
When you look at it, like you said, on the indie scene, I remember it was Catalyst Wrestling, Capital Wrestling, obviously the NWA. I mean, there's a bunch of promotions. I think ICW you guys wrestled. So it feels like you guys carried that feud that obviously your dad, Steve Corino, and Homicide had in Ring of Honor. You guys carried it through several promotions, which is great.
Oh yeah. It wasn't something that was just kept like that's one thing that I've always missed from indie wrestling and wrestling in past is like a story that carried over from promotion to promotion rather than something that just was you're wrestling here and you're heated enemies and then you go a couple states away and you're tag team partners and best friends. That always bothered me.
I love it though. I mean, just like the family legacy. You got to keep that strong, right? I mean, you got to keep the Carino name strong.
100%. The Corino names means a lot in wrestling, and I don't take it lightly. I don't intend to live in the shadow of anybody. I intend to grow out of the shoes and cast my own shadow for people to live up to.
For sure. Beating Kerry Morton at NWA 75 definitely goes a long way. And obviously, NWA 75th anniversary show was a huge show. I mean, just the name of it tells you how big it is right then and there. I mean, 75 years. But to win the NWA Heavyweight Championship, the Junior Heavyweight Championship, and beat Kerry Morton, what was that like at NWA 75?
It was like it was a moment of validation. It felt like for me, like I've always felt like that. I never felt good enough, or that like I wasn't a good wrestler, or I wasn't good enough to make it in the professional wrestling world. But winning that championship and NWA 75 is like such a major event, the 75th anniversary of the National Wrestling Alliance, and being able to be one of these pioneers that are ushering in the new era, like that means a lot to me, and I intend like if the junior heavyweight belt like I've challenged for it feels like 10 times unsuccessfully. The first time I wrestled for the belt was when I was 14 years old against Craig, then champion Craig Classic, and ever since then, like it's kind of been like in the back of my mind, like that major championship that's been held by all these legends like Shinjiro Otani and Jushin Thunder Liger and Jimmy Rave and all these names, and it's just it feels like that moment of I did it and I earned this, and I know that I earned this, and this wasn't a fluke. This is hard work paying off.
What do you think about Kerry? I mean, obviously, second generation guy himself, just like you, but beating him, was that like a big hurdle, or did you feel confident? I'm going to beat Kerry. You know, you're a better wrestler, so to speak.
One of my last matches in the NWA before I took a little hiatus earlier this year was against Kerry when he his first defense against when he won the junior heavyweight title from Homicide, and I lost that match. And it's not that I've lost every match to Kerry. I think we're actually like 2-2 right now in singles matches. So it wasn't that I didn't know like I didn't know if I was going to beat him. I thought he was a better wrestler. It was just it's from the last time that I wrestled him to where I'm at now. It's a completely different person, and I don't think that maybe in last October when I last wrestled Kerry almost a year ago today, if that Colby had challenged at NWA 75, I'm not sure he would have walked away as champion. But
Right.
with all the work that I'm putting in and how hard that I just like is it how much I put into wrestling and how much that it occupies my mind and like how much I'm in the gym and training people. Like right before this interview, I just got back from the gym, and right after this interview, I'm going to go to wrestling school and I'm going to teach some classes for the rest of the day. And it's just I don't think there was any doubt in my mind that I was going to lose unless he tried to pull some stuff with his dad or
Yeah.
there was no way like in a one-on-one match that he was going to beat me. I don't think. Not
So
not
made
not the Colby of October or August 2023 when it happened versus the Kerry Morton of 2023 when it happened. And maybe now it'd be a little different. Maybe he would win now, but I don't know. In August, I just felt like I was on a roll.
What do you think about the junior heavyweight division now? Because it seems like it's really picking up a lot of speed, a lot of momentum, you guys.
No, oh yeah, 100%. And I like to think that like I'm a big proponent of that. I feel like that my style in the NWA is a little different, and now that I'm the champion of the junior heavyweight division, I feel like it's kind of motivating everyone to like to step up and try to step up to my game and try to play at my own game and try to defeat me. And I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But I think it's good for the company that all these guys are clamoring, and they have such a high like a ladder to climb rather than just a fluke win over someone else. You know,
Yep.
like I'm gonna be I'm good for the NWA junior division in the sense that it's motivating people to work harder.
And I just talked to Jack Cartwheel, who was your opponent the day after the NWA 75th. He had won a match, and obviously he got to be a part of a title match after winning. I think it was a 5-man, the Jubilee match. So then he challenged you, and he was saying, man, he's got to get a little bit better. He's got to get back to the weight room a little to try to figure out you. He said you were a little bit of a puzzle for him. Obviously, Cartwheel's a great wrestler and a great athlete, but he wasn't able to beat you that night.
No, 100%. Yeah, like you said, he's a great athlete. He's a great wrestler. He can do some stuff that I definitely cannot do with my body. But sometimes, like I've been doing this for 15 years come December, and I'm
Wow.
27 years old. Yeah, I've been doing this for over half my life, and that kind of teaches you a little something that sometimes that pure athleticism is not going to trump. You know.
That's interesting. I didn't realize it was that long. Wow. That how the heck did you get started that? I mean, obviously because you're your dad, but what, did he just throw you in their ring when you were a kid?
No. When I was 12 years old, that's like when I started actually like taking it seriously in wrestling. There's matches of me when I was like 4 and 5 years old in the ring and had my own gear and was wrestling tag matches with my dad and stuff. But I don't count that. If you want to count that, I've been doing this for like I don't know, 23 years.
23-year vet and you're only 27. That's amazing. If you think about it, I mean, that's just crazy.
Yeah, I guess so.
So, did your dad actually train you?
No, actually, a lot of my training was done by Mike Keener. He was a ref in ECW and one of my dad's best friends and travel partners. So when we would go places, Mike would come with us, and he would get me in the ring before shows and stuff, and he would give me as much training as he could. My dad like kind of like stepped back and just like and watched for a while until like when I got more advanced and like later in my career, when then I could come to him and ask him what he thought of this or what he thought of that, how what can I do better here and stuff. But at the beginning, like the technical aspects were covered by Mike Keener.
When you look at it, did you want to be a wrestler, or was it just like it's so in your blood? You're obviously your aunt and obviously your dad. Like, was there ever any other choice but to be a wrestler?
There was always another choice, but in my head, it was just this is the path, you know. Like I could go and do that, and I could go and do that, but being a pro wrestler is what I'm meant to be. And I didn't feel any pressure to be that or anything. It was just this is the one like the thing I'm in life that I'm best at. I'm not very good at math or science or reading or these normal people things, but I'm really good at being a pro wrestler.
Just was destiny almost. Like you're in the ring at 4 and 5, then Mike Keener's helping you train. Obviously, your dad's there all the way through. So pretty I don't know, it's not maybe not necessarily destiny, but it's pretty much in your blood. I mean, you can't really deny that, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
When you look at kind of where you were and coming through the business, do you think it's more pressure being the son of a wrestler and obviously a famous wrestler, or do you think that it's easier? Because I feel like sometimes people kind of would think it was easier, but I bet you it's more pressure.
I think it's a mixture of the two. It's easier in some aspects and it's harder in some aspects. You're right that there's a certain type of pressure on second generation wrestlers' shoulders, the expectation for them to be good. And man, I feel like I wasn't good for 10 years of my career. It took me a long time for me to get good. And but there's also good sides to it too because it opens doors that wouldn't be opened for. Sorry, it opens doors that wouldn't be normally opened for like an average person who just gets into wrestling by going to wrestling school or whatever other way you get into wrestling. And stuff happens, you already have like a network with people, so it's easy. Stuff's a little bit easier to happen.
But I also feel like sometimes people are like, "Oh, if his last name's Corino, he better be good right away, and he better know this or he better know that." It's just one of those things. Just because of the last name, they just almost assume stuff, right? Pressure wise.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I mean, luckily now I feel like that. Like when people hear about me, I'm not embarrassing myself, but there's definitely a time where I was not proud of my work. But whatever. That's all part of growing and getting better. I feel like you got to have those reps. In stand up comedy, I listened to a lot of comedy podcasts, and there's a saying in stand up comedy that you don't make money for 10 years. And that's pretty close to pro wrestling too. You don't make any real money for 10 years, and may not actually be really good until you're that far in. But if that's something what you really want, you make it happen.
When do you think it started clicking for you? Like how many years in?
Um, it changes every year. I would probably say like right now, I'd be like, man, it didn't start clicking me till last year. And you asked me a couple years ago, I'd be like, what do you mean it's clicking for me right now? It's just it's all a different perspective. As I get older, it's just like I learn more and more stuff, and it changes my perspective of what a wrestler is or should be, and just a progressive thing. I feel like there's no end game to it to where like I'm gonna be like I'm now the perfect wrestler. Like it's always going to be something. I have something to learn. I always going to have something to improve on, and and that's just the journey to the top.
Great mindset to have too. Never stop learning, right? That's a great mindset.
Oh yeah, I try to keep something like that going. Never want to act like you know too much.
And I think it was Steve Austin. I'm pretty sure I was listening to one of his podcasts just a while back, but he was saying it took him 7 years to get like not comfortable, but to get good. Like that took him, and it's like, wow, holy shit, one of the greatest of all time is saying that. I mean, I guess it's not an easy thing for a guy just to be able to turn it on and off like a switch.
Oh yeah, 100%. As I see some of these people on NXT and they've been wrestling under a year and they're on TV and they're doing great. But I was not that. It took a little bit more talent and not talent, a little bit more hard work, raw hard work and motivation to do it for me. I wasn't just naturally gifted with the graces of being a great pro wrestler.
Now, speaking of NXT, you were technically, I don't know if it was signed, sealed, delivered, but you were, or I guess there was a rumor you were headed there and then it didn't happen. Is that something that it's still on the table, or like what happened with that?
Maybe one day in the future that the burn's not bridged and the door's not the wait the bridge is not burned and the door is not closed. That's what I meant to say. And you never say never. But for right now, I am very content being the NWA Junior Heavyweight Champion. And after that, I still got other stuff that I want to do. I want to win the World's Heavyweight Championship. That's the belt that my dad had. And maybe after I'm done doing what I need to do uh, elsewhere in professional wrestling, I can go to WWE and I can rest my laurels and I can cash in on the hard work I have. But there's a certain things, a checklist in my mind that of stuff I need to do before then.
I love that. You got stuff to do, stuff to get done, stuff to get accomplished, but the bridge isn't burned. You're still have the opportunity, obviously. It's still out there, still open.
Oh yeah.
Now, I remember there was like it was rumor online was like it was a background check thing, but then that wasn't it. Then it was like a TKO Endeavor thing. Did they ever kind of figure it out? Has the truth ever came out of what happened there? Because you were almost there and then didn't.
It was just that my background check took a long time to come back, and then
Oh,
by the time it came back, they sold the company. And while that was happening, they were in a hiring freeze until the merger completely went through. And they told me that I could either wait or not wait. and I just couldn't sit at home and not wrestle and with no income. Professional wrestling is all I do, and it's my full time career. And when I left the NWA, that was my income gone. So I couldn't wait around. I wanted to make money, and I wanted to not sit around. And like now, like even the money aside, though, I sit back now, and I think that's the best thing that could have happened to me, because I just I feel like this was really the right move. And in a few years, when everyone's ready, I think maybe one day we'll see Colby Corino in WWE, but not right now.
And you keep getting better and better. Obviously, you can getting those reps in, like you were saying, but you just keep wrestling good talent and different talent. Just keep getting better and better, more evolved as a wrestler.
Oh yeah, that means the value keeps going way up.
Yes, there you go. Yes, for sure. Speaking of NWA, I know you got Joe Alonzo at the pay per view. We mentioned Homicide. Who else do you want to wrestle? Maybe that you haven't wrestled yet in NWA.
Hmm. Um. I'm kind of running ramshot over the junior heavyweight people, but I've had some eyes on some heavyweights. I've always wanted a singles match with Chris Masters or Chris Adonis or whatever you want to call him.
Yep.
I always wanted to have a match with Mike Knox, a singles match with Mike Knox. I think that would really surprise everyone. We'd have a crazy match that no one would ever expect. And of course, I got to go after the big man himself, the world's heavyweight champion, EC3.
I like that. That would be great. And I know Brogan Finley is coming up, but that's more of the junior heavyweight. He's coming up. Matt Vine. I mean, there's a bunch of other guys.
All them.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, but they're in the rear view, right? Yeah, that would be nice though. An EC3 match with you. I think that would be something good. Maybe even champion versus champion.
Oh yeah, it'd be wild to see the junior heavyweight champion beat the world's champion. But George, I was talking to George Stout the other day, and he was telling me that back in the day that it was the world's heavyweight champion and the junior heavyweight champion was like the 1 and 2. It wasn't like the TV champion or the national champion was above the junior champion. It was the world's champion and the junior heavyweight champion. So maybe we're not as far apart as some people think in ability. So maybe a champion versus champion match would be pretty cool one day.
I love that. Great idea. Did you talk to George South a lot? Do you get a lot of advice from George? Love George.
Oh yes, I talk to George all the time. He texts me on his Luthez flip phone that he calls it. But yeah, I talk to George very frequently. He's one of my mentors and someone that I hold very close to my heart. He's taught me a lot of life.
Man, he wrestled the NWA World's Champion more than a few times. So I mean, he knows what it's like going up against the NWA champion for sure.
Oh yeah, he's definitely a seasoned vet. So it's wild some of the stories he has to talk about. Yeah, I love hearing him talk. I could sit there for hours and just listen to him tell stories.
He's great. What like an true old school wrestler? Like when you think of old school wrestling, like he got to think of him and like that type of wrestler. It just reminds me of pleasant times of the old days for sure.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So when you look at the Carino legacy, obviously yourself now, your dad, your aunt, what do you think is the legacy of the Carinos? Like just when you look at it, when people think of the name, even years from now, what do you think is that they're going to think of the Carino name?
Well, I hope they see a family that's wrestled throughout many generations and had a cup of coffee, if not more, and just about every promotion that there is. And they see that the impact that we've had. My dad's a coach at the Performance Center. I'm a coach at the Carolina Wrestling Academy here in North Carolina. And I hope that like not only do you remember our wrestling careers, but you remember the wrestling careers of all our students too.
I didn't realize that. I know you mentioned the wrestling school, so you're one of the teachers there. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're passing on the knowledge. You get the knowledge, and then you pass it on. That's how the wrestling business flourishes.
Oh yeah, 100%. We have training 3 times a week, and they come with us to all of our shows that we have. It's a good old time.
Prediction for the pay-per-view.
I walk out as junior heavyweight champion. I beat up Joe Alonzo. It's not predictions as much as just telling you what's going to happen.
Love it. So as we wind it down, we'll head towards the finish. You've got to remind everybody, NWA Samhain, if you will, the Gaelic pronunciation. It's spelled Samhain, but that's the Gaelic pronunciation of it. Obviously, it's a big pay-per-view by the NWA, which will be held October 28th at the Tempe Live at the Cleveland Masonic in Cleveland, Ohio. It's going to be on Fight TV. Go to NationalWrestlingAlliance.com for more information. Go to NWATix.com for more ticket information. What else do you have to say to sell some people on this pay-per-view? Because I feel like NWA may be going under the radar a little bit. There's been a big change, a lot of new champions, a lot of little things are changing there. So what's the big push for the NWA and kind of getting it back on everybody's radar?
This is the first show of the purported new era, and NWA has promoted this show as the most violent pay-per-view in NWA history. And I would just stick close and keep an eye on NWA social media, because I know that there's some match announcements or stipulations coming up that are going to make that pretty true. And regardless of if there's any stipulation, if there's any weapon in my match or not, my match is probably going to be the most violent match on the card.
Joe's fault. He made it personal. To be honest, he really did. Right? Joe pushed the line there, I think, for sure, for the pay-per-view. But hey, he's going to reap what he sows.
Oh yeah, it's you always got to pay the piper, and unfortunately, he got to pay the piper at NWA Samhain.
Yes, there you go. Now, what's next for you, though? Obviously, outside of the pay-per-view, what's next? What's coming up?
I have a rare weekend off this weekend, so I will be doing some lawn care on my house in North Carolina, and just relaxing and let my body heal a little bit. Well, I mean, as much as I can be. I'm still doing wrestling training and going to the gym every day. I haven't missed a day in the gym this week, so gotta keep that up and just get my mind right for what's coming up in the future.
Now, where can everybody find you?
Everyone can find me on social media at Twitter or X at Colby Corino, on Instagram at Colby.Corino. I'm on Facebook. I'm just Colby Corino. And yeah, I don't got the TikTok. I think that's it.
Nice. All right. And everybody, of course, one last time, NWA Samhain, October 28th, Tempe Live, Cleveland Masonic in Cleveland, Ohio. Go to fighttv.com for the pay-per-view. Go to nationalwrestlingalliance.com for more info. And, of course, NWATix.com for your ticket details. Get over that show. It's going to be a good one. Like you said, it's going to be the most violent pay-per-view of the NWA and of this new NWA era. Colby, thank you so much for all the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, perfect. That's where I'll cut it. Nice.
Sweet.